healthy sibling relationships allow two people to grow in different directions while still caring about each other. If closeness requires you shrinking, you silencing yourself, or constantly managing someone else's emotion, that is not connection. That is entanglement. And healing is learning how to stay loving while also standing in your own life. Shh. Welcome to the Secret Life Podcast. Tell me your secret. I'll tell you mine. Recovery doesn't end when the chaos stops. That's when the real work begins. After 16 years of recovery, my novels, Secret Life of a Hollywood Sex and Love Addict, and my new book, Becoming My Own Effing Soulmate, tell the before and after. The addiction, the healing, and the messy realities of learning how to choose yourself. Both are available now on Amazon. Welcome to Secret Life Podcast. I'm Brianne Davis-Gantt. Today I'm pulling back the curtains of all kinds of human secrets. We'll hear about what people are hiding from themselves or others. You know, those deep, dark secrets you probably want to take to your grave, or those lighter, funnier secrets that are just plain embarrassing. Join me each week as we take a deep dive into one subject matter, exploring the how, what, when, where, and why of it all. It's a secret life, and I'm excited for you to join the ride. Today, we are talking about, enmeshing siblings. That's right. We've talked about enmeshment in families, but I want to actually talk about the sibling between brother and sister even, because most people think about enmeshment that only happens with parents and children, but it actually can happen between siblings. And I see it a lot. It actually does. And when it does, it can be incredibly confusing because the relationship looks normal on the outside because they're close. They talk all the time. They lean on each other. But underneath that closeness is something heavier. It's a lack of emotional separation. And enmeshment between a brother and sister usually form in childhood when that family system didn't have healthy emotional boundaries. Because here's the thing, maybe the parent was unavailable. Maybe the parent pushed the children together because they couldn't be there. Maybe it was chaotic in that household or overwhelming. And the siblings stepped into the roles that were meant to be filled by the parents, but were filled by each other. One sibling might become the protector, the advisor, the emotional caretaker, or even the decision maker for the other. Over time, that relationship stops being two separate people, and it starts functioning like one emotional unit. And I see this so often because the problem is what happens is individuality gets lost. One sibling feels responsible for others' emotions, choices, relationships, even the identity. And that controlling behavior often doesn't feel like control at first. It feels like concern, guidance, loyalty. I'm just here and being close. I'm here for you. But that is enmeshment is present. There's this like underlining invisible rule in the relationship. You are not allowed to fully be yourself if it disrupts this bond. And then that one, that is the caretaker, protector, always giving advice, giving money when you need it, especially if they're older, gets resentful. Don't be an individual without me. So here's the deal. We'll use this one. You might see a brother who feels entitled to weigh in on every relationship the sister has, to say you're doing it wrong. Or you might see a sister who feels responsible for managing the brother's emotional world and talking through everything. One sibling will then feel guilty if the other starts making independent choices and having autonomy. There can be jealousy when another romantic partner comes in even, and they are more aligned than the siblings. It's this unspoken expectation that siblings have to be loyal to everything the other one does. And it can be tricky, because a part of the grown adult is like, my sister's moving on or my brother's moving on, but for some reason I'm feeling this deep love, but also suffocation, and then jealousy that doesn't actually make sense. And then the other person that wants finally space feels guilty wanting space, and they might question, am I being selfish that I want my own life, or should I be checking in more? But healthy siblings fucking know the difference. They're allowed distance. They're allowed two formed adults in their own world and not managing each other. They talk every so often. They're not talking constantly. So if you think enmeshment's happening, here are some questions I need you to start asking yourself. Here we go. Number 1, do I feel responsible for my sibling's emotional state? Number 2, do I feel guilty when I make choices they don't approve of? Number 3, how often do I check in with their opinions before I make decisions on my own life? Do I feel like I have to keep the peace in order to maintain the relationship? Number 6, when I imagine setting boundaries with them, what emotion shows up in my body? Is it angst? Is it nervousness? Do they react with guilt, anger, withdrawal when I choose something different from what they want? And these ones, I do feel like I'm allowed to disagree openly. I do feel like I can have a romantic relationship and not approved by my family. I do find myself hiding parts of my life to avoid that confrontation with them. And lastly, when I think about living fully on my terms, do I feel free or terrified? That's what I want you to think of. If any of those ring true or bring up answers, you might be enmeshed with a sibling. Because the most powerful question, if my sibling weren't part of the decision, would I choose it for myself? That usually reveals I'm living a half life for my siblings, my brother, my sister, whoever. So let's talk about some people that never name it completely out loud. People hate the word fucking enmeshed. Hate it. Right? And sibling enmeshment feels even ickier than parents enmeshment because the siblings know that this shouldn't be normal, but it is normal. And they had to lean on each other. And listen, I have seen my sister and I have been codependent. We've leaned on each other. And then we went through a period where we stopped talking for a while to give each other space and then because she was too codependent. So it gave her space to have her own voice and feelings and thoughts, which I always wanted her to share with me. So this is where the separation is needed. And you can still love the person, but have separation to fully develop. Because the silent rule in those relationships is don't rock the boat, don't change, don't do anything different because this is the status quo. But that doesn't live a healthy, full adult life. You are the one that you should be worried about. You are the one that should be okay with your decisions. Independence for self-preservation is not betrayal. It's not. So if you feel I'm betraying my family, my sibling, that shows you have enmeshment, and enmeshment has to be broken. So again, there is a way out. You can still have a great relationship for your sibling and with your sibling, but you're not responsible for their well-being. You are not making decisions based from them because healthy relationships, even siblings, have to have two separate lives, or you'll get to be 60, 70 and wonder, whose life did I leave? And you're gonna literally see, I led and lived a life for my sibling. Because healthy siblings disagree. They have completely different lives. They live in completely different cities. They have boundaries. They care deeply about each other, but they also respect their own autonomy. And if someone grew up in that dynamic, the work takes a long time. It takes safety to find your own voice. It takes your own path. It takes emotional space. So here are the hidden enmeshments that I'm going to say one more time so you can hear it if you are listening, because this is important. You are close, but people think you're too close. You're over involved in each other's decisions. You're always giving advice. You're calling to check in on. You're wondering, how did that thing work out? Number 2, emotional monitoring. You may feel like you have to check in constantly, like I just said, constantly. Number 3, a big pull, guilt when you pull away. Even small acts of independence, spending time with other people, making your own decisions, having privacy, keeping things private, not oversharing. You feel guilty. Then lastly, there's also emotional hierarchy. One sibling is the authoritative and the other one plays the role of listening and seeking approval. And then loyalty, that word loyalty, it's just, they're so tainted. Family comes first. It's like, no, it doesn't. What are you doing? It doesn't, just because they're your blood doesn't they become more than you, what you want. This is where the blurred lines. And why does it affect the romantic relationship? First of all, you're acting like your sibling is your partner. Your sibling is not your romantic partner. You might see things like this: sibling criticizing or questioning the romantic partner, subtle competition from time to time to get attention, comments that create doubt about a relationship, pressure to prioritize a sibling over the partner, like you're choosing one between the other, and then emotional withdrawal when the sibling chooses the partner and you feel like frustrated, annoyed that you're not getting chosen by your sibling because they want to be with their partner. You are not number one anymore. You might have survived your toxic childhood, but you don't live under the same roof. And if you do, you need to take a reality check. You probably shouldn't be living with your sibling. I just saw this whole comedian saying she lives with her sister and she knows she shouldn't live there anymore, but she really knew when she walked outside and her neighbor was like, "Oh, we'd love to have you and your wife over." It was her sister. And she was like, "This is not good." A part of me was like, yeah, I shouldn't live with my sister. But another part is I want a free meal from our neighbors. And it was really funny, but that's what enmeshment of a sibling. You can have it with your sister. You can live with your sister when you're too old. So how do you untangle this shit? Oh, it's exhausting. Awareness, number one. You got to step into awareness. You got to notice when your decisions are based on your sibling and their reaction. Number two, pause before consulting your sibling. If you want to run every decision by your sibling, make small decisions of your own first. Number three, tolerate their discomfort. If they're upset with you, it is okay. Let your body regulate. Let your nervous system. You may feel confused, hurt, or even angry, but their reaction doesn't mean you did something wrong. It's just the dynamic is shifting. Number four, rebuilding your identity outside of the role you play in sibling relationship and family dynamic. Ask yourself, who am I when I'm not managing this relationship? And finally, remember this. Healthy love does not require emotional fusion. Two people can deeply care about each other and still have separate lives and separate opinions and separate patterns. That real closeness is connection without control. If their reaction changes your path, that is enmeshment. If you create emotional distance and feel horrible about it, what is that emotion coming from? And lastly, would you do, if you felt responsible for your sibling's emotion, would you make a choice differently? Is there any room for you to grow? Healthy sibling relationships allow two people to grow in different directions while still caring about each other. If closeness requires you shrinking, you silencing yourself, or constantly managing someone else's emotion, that is not connection. That is entanglement. And healing is learning how to stay loving while also standing in your own life. You can do it. I promise. There's a freedom on the other side of a enmeshed sibling relationship. And then you can get back to a healthy, stable sibling relationship in your adulthood. Thank you for listening to Secret Life Podcast. I'm so happy. I hope you enjoyed the episode like I enjoyed sharing this with you. And you can get on the other side of enmeshment. Send me your thoughts and feelings to secretlifepodcast@icloud.com. Until next time. Thanks again for listening to the show. Please subscribe, rate, share, or send me a note at secretlifepodcast.com. And if you'd like to check out my book, head over to secretlifenovel.com or Amazon to pick up a copy for yourself or someone you love. Thanks again. See you soon.